You know, the thing is, this is a training camp because you've got no responsibility here. We feed you. We say, are you thinking of facet? You're being a victim. Get back into your hearts. Everything's happening to create more consciousness. That's the whole essence of this place. But it's like if you go to a health farm. Okay, you go there, you eat healthily, you get lots of massages, you don't do anything, and then you go home and you continue with the diet. You keep doing the same thing. Or you go back to the other. Consciousness doesn't work like that. You have to continue. And you need to use it in the most important moments. And the most important moments are when you're experiencing external insecurity. That's when you need to really anchor in your consciousness. You know, while you're here floating around, talking about consciousness, eating consciousness, looking at the ocean, you're even being guided into your unification. It's very simple, no? But then after that, it's your responsibility. That's what this system's about. It's not a codependent system. It's an independent system that becomes a way of being. And you also have all the support. When you go home, you have support. All you have to do is watch the Darshans, pick up the telephone, look for support, read a book, give. If you give consciousness, that sustains your experience all the time. Do you think my teachers were sitting in Chile, having a breakdown for what was happening around them? Or they were going out and giving? Reminding people it's an illusion. Reminding them to anchor in consciousness. Reminding them it's their responsibility to change. And this is what you need to do. You have to give consciousness. It's very simple to get hooked into the drama. And yes, obviously social change is needed. That's why it's created this whirlwind. And you can be involved, but you don't need to get lost. This is the difference. Because economies do this all the time. Politics, all the time. Injustice, all the time. You have to be that solidarity. It's not external. It's never been external. They tried everything to make it external. Socialism, communism, military rule, everything to sustain it externally. Did it ever work? No. Why? Because this is an illusion of duality. Everything has to be here. From your intimate relationships, to your social relationships, to your planetary relationships. They're all your responsibility. Sustainable development's your responsibility. Everything's your responsibility. Everything. You have to provoke the change by being the change. Good. You know, I was in India now talking about female issues, no? Education, discrimination, all the inequality within the corporate world, within the village, you know, everywhere. And it's just education. It's just evolution. You know, oh, look what happens to the girls. And I say to the mothers, what are you teaching? The same thing that happened to you. And we keep repeating and repeating and repeating. You go to the countries where the men are the most important thing. And the women fight against it, but they keep doing it, making him special. Even the richest families. And we have to see that. We fight against the injustice, but we have to see what we're teaching. What are we teaching? You know, we're all worried about the planet, but we keep doing the same things. Why? Oh, it won't make a difference. It's only one person. But when one person is a billion people, because every person's one person, does it make a difference? Does it make a difference when they burn all of the forests in Brazil? We all go, oh, they're burning the lungs of the world. But what are you doing? It's easy to look. What changes are you making? I know the only way to change. And that's to become in the change. It's not about fighting for equal rights. It's about loving yourself and valuing yourself. Because if you don't value yourself, if you have judgments with yourself, you will always see it. It won't matter who you are. If you're from a minority or if you're from an elite group, it won't make any difference. If you don't love yourself, nothing will happen. Nothing will change. Oh, we think it's about social change. Bigotry, prejudice. Is it? Is it? No. It's about you loving you. We're always marching against everything, no? March in and have a good look. What do I really think about me? And that's where the change starts. That's sustainable development. Because when I love me, I love everything. I love the planet. I love everyone with their differences. The politics starts to dissolve. There becomes a choice between fear and love. And it's very simple. It's only one choice. And stop chasing illusions. My happiness is in a future moment. They're just judgments. All of it's judgments. Always seeing victims. Because we feel like victims.
I don't know how to do that jump. Many times I feel I have nothing to do, to give. Now, yes, I feel. But I don't know how to jump.
You're so immersed in me, 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 me. You're here. And you've got to change that. Just go and give. I'm going to be nice to you now. You've got a beautiful consciousness. You have a lovely way of being. You have so much to give. Go and give. Stop doubting yourself. Look for places to give. Because you have so much. And it's not that you need to heal more. You need to see what you have. And the only way to see it is to give it. Because when you're giving it, you go, oh wow, oh, I said that. Oh, I did that. Oh, that was great. And all of a sudden, you start to appreciate yourself. And this is what you're not doing. You're not appreciating you. You're not appreciating how wonderful you are. So do it.
Be. And what I want is to, more than a question, is to, for you to clarify. The system teaches that we have to connect with emotions, that we should express. After connecting with emotion, express and then let go. But the thing of letting go, what is to have resignation, to forget, to forgive, to postpone yourself?
To let go is to let go of the suffering. You're holding on to a resentment that makes you suffer, so you have to let it go. And the system isn't about just moving emotion. The system's about consciousness, the expansion of this experience. That's the only thing it's about. Everything else is an aspect of the liberation of what isn't this. Okay, so firstly I have to cultivate this. And I have to sit here. How do I cultivate this? I unify, I go very deep, and I start to liberate everything that's not based in love. My fears, my doubts, my low self-esteem, my resentments, everything that stops me from living in joy. My losses, my anguish, my judgments, etc., 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 etc. And as that leaves, I find this place of joy and love and peace that I had when I was a child. Okay, and from that place of innocence, I have the capacity to flow in life, to live without judgment, to let go, to not attach. And I use the facets with my eyes open to keep bringing me into the moment. It's like today when I was talking about the birds, yes? People say, oh, praise, love, gratitude. But if you focus on that, instead of all the birds in your head, with all the chit-chat, no? Usually most of it's not very interesting, and it's focused on fear. If you just have the facets all the time, whether you believe it or not, you start to become the facet. You start to see the beauty. It doesn't matter where I go. And I go to the most beautiful places on the planet, the most exotic, and the most horrific places on the planet. And I don't have a judgment. Everything for me is the same. It just is. I give. I talk about the consciousness. I'm always looking to let go. And this is what the system's about. But letting go is not resignation. You think it's resignation because you think you have to fight. And I'm going to tell you something about the world. And this is the truth. It's not just. And it will never be just. So if you're suffering for injustice, be it personal, be it political, be it religious, if you're suffering for that, you're going to suffer eternally. You can provoke change, but without suffering. Now, let me imagine. I think your resentments are a little bit closer to home, no? And you need to heal them. You know, you lost your husband, you're having dramas with the family, but you need to go deeper. You have to go much, much deeper. Because everything we create is a consequence of how we feel about ourselves. But we're always projecting it externally. And you can do that. You started, and then you started wandering around again, and now you're ready to do it again. Or no? So, it's my superstar.
Hi, Isha, mi superestrella. I want to give thanks for everyone for this time here, each detail that we receive, full of love from all the teachers. Thank you. Death had been very present in my family. I lived my mother's death very lovingly, very transcendental. It was a gift to be with her till the last breath, with peace. The last thing she said was a facet. She set it up in her own way, but it was very beautiful. She said, praise love for me in the perfection, something like that. And I feel well to confront the death of my sister now. I feel with the same love, because I lived the transcendence of the moment, and when it came back to me, it was an enormous and loving expansion. But I talked with my sister. I'm leaving on Monday to support her. And she tells me, I'm fine, I'm calm, I want to live the process in calm. But it's very difficult with a husband that is very afraid, and the son, and the stepson that is a doctor. There is a rigid structure around her there. And she's a doctor also, she had to move through the rigidity. So I would like you to, if you can talk, I'm going to be with her, it's her moment. But how to really support the family, the surroundings, this situation of fear.
You know, the thing is with you, Jimena, you have all the answers. You just have to open your mouth, because you have such a clarity, such a capacity to give, such a capacity to flow and to love. You know, you're like one of my teachers. And you just need to trust that. No one could have a better support than you. And you just need to teach them to let go. And it's not easy, because everyone's afraid, because no one knows who they are. And the most uncertain thing's death, no? There's no guarantees. And the attachment and the fear of the people that are being left behind. You just have to be this presence. And just give from your heart. There's no recipe. You just have to trust what comes out of your mouth. And I'm sure it'll be absolutely beyond perfect. Yeah. But just being there, just unifying, not trying to fix them, because you can't fix them. Just love them. And they'll change. You know, death shakes everything. We're all so attached. And it's so lovely you said that experience you had with your mother. And that's because of your consciousness. Because you're very close to your mother. And you have to trust that. Good.
Hi, Isha. I want to ask you about control. I feel I have been letting go more and more of the control. But for me, when it's about control, my head gets totally crazy and I feel the fear very intense in my body. And sometimes I think, I'm never going to let go of the control completely. And my question is, can I let it go completely, or I need to wake up to the...
You know, control, you're talking about other people, no? Or no? Yeah. Okay, I understand that. So you give and you let go. If you keep on top, it's because you have fear. And that's an aspect of you. I'm afraid something will go wrong and I will lose something. Or something's going to affect my image. It's always to do with me, 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 me. But if you're giving and you're empowering, it's a different feeling. You know, I tell my people, not so much here, no, my gauchos, for example, I tell them the same thing 20 times. 20 times. Don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Oh yeah, paso, 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 paso. I think if I hear that word one more time, so I just keep empowering. I mark and I empower, I mark and I empower, I mark and I empower. And I did all that here too, in the beginning. Now I don't have to do it very much. Maria Lara does it. But, but the thing is, that's empowering. If control comes from fear, the mirror reflects fear because you're too involved. I'm going to lose something. I'm not going to be loved. I need you to change. This is a reflection on me. This makes me look bad. And if you suffer that all the time, you know, it's like parents with their children. They say it's so unconditional. You're going to be a doctor because we're all doctors and this is what we do. We become doctors. But I love you unconditionally. What do you mean you want to be a florist? We don't do that. Okay, you can become a florist. But I'm not going to pay for it. Yeah? You know, there's always these conditions. Why? Because we think it has something to do with us. What do you mean you're gay? We don't do gay. I don't have a judgment with gay, but a son of mine? No, I don't think I want a gay son, you know. I need you to get married, have children, and give me grandchildren. You got it? But I love you unconditionally. Yeah, sure. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we think everything's about us. We can't separate ourselves from everything else because we think we failed. We failed. I did something wrong. So it goes in all different levels, yeah? And this is what you have to see. Are you empowering or are you involved? If you're involved, you are going to suffer. If you're empowering, you will be joyful. It will be frustrating, but you will be joyful and you will see results. Does that cover your question? Huh? Don't be so involved. No. You're going to pay extra for the second one? Okay.
The first question. First thing is, I could like you to talk a bit more about the mirror of perfection. That's one of the things.
Okay, I'll answer that first. Because, I forget things. Yeah? What did he say? What? She forgets too. Yeah, she's older than me. Do you remember when we used to be young? Yeah, we didn't used to forget, but now we both forget. Huh? That's the mirror of perfection. We're both forgetting. So it's perfect. Okay, the mirror of perfection is no judgment. That is the mirror of perfection. I perceive the perfection in everything. And I perceive myself in everything. That is the mirror of perfection. The complete absence of judgment. And that's enlightenment, no? Next question.
The other day you talk about a concept.
A concept?
It's something similar. The middle point in between.
Put the microphone here, Alex.
Middle point in what is the excess of the excessive mind and excessive sensitivity.
It was you. Are you a concept?
Question is, can you got in that middle point path a little bit more?
You know, the thing's this. You are overly sensitive because you have judgments with you. You know, people always say, how could you talk to me like that? But if you stop, you know, if you're really honest, that you have those thoughts about you. And when the mirror shows you, you get upset. Like, what do you mean you can't talk to me like that? But you're doing it all the time. And you have to heal that. Because if you're really here and you heal everything, this stops affecting you. People can say whatever they want to me. And they do, huh? Lots of things. And I have to be completely open and not moving. And this is how you have to be. And that's the middle point. It's the perfect balance between the masculine and feminine. It's like this. It's perfect. I'm here. This is perfect. This is perfect. I'm here in this moment. And it comes through healing. No judgment. Internally or externally. Om responsibility. I am that. Om, the mirror of perfection. All my facets are in perfect order. Because they're a consequence of consciousness. Yeah. That's my concept. Anyone want a microphone?
I want to ask, a few days ago, a year ago, you told me that I had to master the first facet, not to be wanting something else instead of what is in this moment.
This was to do with your husband? What was that to do with? Why did I tell you to do that? Something was happening.
I was here, I was in the country, and I was wondering why my husband is not here, blah, blah. It was nothing severe.
Your husband wasn't here. Yeah. I remember. I think. Do you remember?
I had been working on that, or trying to be the first facet, but I found myself today wanting to be in all the things that are happening outside. I'm enjoying this, and I want to enjoy all the rest. And I think I didn't move forward much.
But you're meant to be enjoying everything in this moment.
I want that. But anyway, the head goes somewhere else in another moment.
Stop being so violent. Don't be so exigente. Just stop. You're doing great. You're happy, aren't you? Well, that's the only thing that's important. Be here now. If you're leaving or remembering joyfully, it's great. If you're suffering and worrying and missing,
I am wanting to control to see what they are doing.
Well, that's the fault of iPhone. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And WhatsApp. It's a new level now. Remember when we used to put money in the telephone? You couldn't control anyone. Or you had to send a letter by boat. Imagine. I'm not that old. Annie told me about that. But it's crazy, no? And now, you know, we don't just have find my phone, find my husband, find my kids, find my... It's crazy, no? Huh? We're just constantly controlling. And it also has lots of wonderful benefits too. The capacity to communicate, to learn, lots of wonderful things too. But the control's reached a new level, no?
I have a question. Since some time ago, it's very easy to be expanded, to feel something beautiful in heart and body, but as easy it is, also anything happens, or somebody tells me something, and it's like a thermometer. I feel it physically, it just goes down, I lose the state. I can see it.
But don't observe. Let it go. If you can expand so quickly, and this is your victim, no? Oh. You see the physical movement, no? You're like this. Oh. Stop. And come back. Let it go, let it go, let it go. What gets offended? Your ego. Do you want to be your ego? Do you want to be your consciousness that expands so quickly? So stop. This is what you people have to understand. It's in your hands. It's not in her hands or his hands, because you're going to be challenged all the time. You take, you look. Does anything serve? No? And you stay here. You don't do all this. Do you understand? You've got to be more ruthless. And this is about loving yourself. It's not about witnessing the victim. Just let it go. Let it go. You can't make a mistake. But we're also guilty, no? We always think we're doing something wrong. I did something wrong. It's my fault. Forget it. If it is, it's going to be here. Just keep letting it go. And stay here.